GDP is an indicator of the economic clout a country holds in the world. Higher the GDP, the more power it wields and the greater its influence on global affairs. Hi, I'm Chris, and for today's episode, we'll take a look at the top 10 countries with the highest GDP. Let's start with Canada at number 10. Canada grew at an estimated 2% last year to become a $1.8 trillion economy. By 2023, the economy should be worth $2.43 trillion. The country has one of the most stable governments and has consistently been ranked as a low-corruption nation, two factors that contribute to its economic stability. It has the third biggest proven petroleum reserves in the world and ranks number 4 in total natural resources. Mineral fuels like oil account for almost 22% of exports. Next on our list is Brazil. The country's nominal GDP for 2019 is about $2 trillion. About 72% of Brazil's GDP is accounted for by the services sector. Industrial and manufacturing contribute 21%, while the agricultural sector accounts for 6% of the total GDP. Exports are rising and the country is blessed with huge natural resources like uranium, iron, gold and timber. The top export of Brazil is oil and other fuels, amounting to about 13.4% of total exports, followed by oilseeds. Taking the 8th spot is Italy. Nominal GDP for 2019 is about $2.07 trillion. Unfortunately, the country is experiencing economic stagnation. High tax rates, rigid labor laws, increasing government debt, huge non-performing banking loans are weighing on the economy. The country's GDP to debt ratio is in excess of 130%. Italy also has one of the lowest birth rates in the European Union. On the plus side, it's the biggest luxury hub in Europe and the third biggest in the world. Italy is the 8th largest global exporter, with its top exports being automobiles, wine, appliances, and industrial products. At number 7 is France. The current GDP is estimated at $2.9 trillion. About 70% of it stems from the services industry. Unlike countries like Italy, France has weathered its financial crisis pretty well. However, recovery is still slow and unemployment levels are at uncomfortably high levels. The country is the largest agricultural producer in Europe. One of its strong points is tourism. France is basically the most visited tourist destination in the world. A big plus point is its educated workforce, with the science graduates per 1,000 workers being the highest in Europe. Machinery is the top export. Aircraft and spacecraft occupy the second position, with vehicles securing the third. Coming in at number 6 is India. India overtook France in 2018 and is well on its way to exceed the UK very soon. India's nominal GDP is around $2.9 trillion. Together with China, it is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. And the fact that it has 1 billion plus people will only make every percentage point of GDP growth much more massive than what is possible in countries like the UK. Service sector accounts for 30% of GDP. The government's Make in India initiative is attracting numerous investors to set up manufacturing centers in the country. Mineral oils, gems and precious metals and machinery make the top 3 exports. At number 5 is the UK. United Kingdom has a GDP of $3.2 trillion. 75% of GDP is accounted for by the services industry, with the financial sector playing a major role. Experts are expecting a fall in fixed investments and private consumption, which should negatively affect its growth rate this year. The top 3 exports of the UK include machinery, vehicles, and gems and precious metals. Ranking at the 4th spot is Germany. With a GDP valued at $4.2 trillion, Germany is the largest economy in Europe. Its machinery manufacturing industry is very strong. The country is one of the world's biggest exporters of automobiles, chemicals, machine tools, and steel. The government has introduced the Industry 4.0 plan that aims to make the nation a global leader in high-end products. Taking 3rd place is Japan with a nominal GDP of $5.2 trillion. The best period of economic growth for the country was during the 60s to 80s, when Japan was growing so fast that it even worried Western nations. But post the 90s, economic growth has not been impressive. Nevertheless, it has maintained its 3rd position in GDP rankings. What differentiates Japan from other countries is its high work efficiency. Over the next decade, Japan is expected to move lower in rankings. Vehicles make up a massive 21.1% of total exports, followed by machinery at 19.4% and electrical equipment at 14.6%. Next up is China. The number 2 economy in the world and the largest in Asia, China's GDP is valued at $9.2 trillion. Just like India, China's vast population combined with breakneck growth rate gives it a huge advantage against other nations when it comes to GDP rankings. Some time back, China used to grow at an average of 10%. Now the growth rate has fallen to around 6%, which is nothing to scoff at. Cheap labor and a highly developed infrastructure continue to give China an edge over Western nations in the manufacturing sector. Electrical equipment and machinery jointly make up more than 43% of exports. And finally, at the number 1 spot is the United States of America. With a nominal GDP of over $21 trillion, the US is far ahead of any country right now. In fact, the American economy alone accounts for 20% of the global output, which goes to show how valuable the US is to the rest of the world. The country is expected to retain the top spot for at least a few decades, after which China, or maybe even India, will possibly overtake it. 1/5 of all Fortune Global 500 companies are in the US. The country leads in almost all tech sectors, whether it be automotive, electronics, IT, and so on. Top 3 exports include machinery, mineral fuels, and electrical equipment. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to click on the notification bell as well. We love feedback, so leave your comments below. In the world of make money online, there are numerous self-proclaimed gurus who promise you the world and even beyond. Amongst the noise, it's hard to identify the real gems. Let me tell you that it is possible to break the shackles of your job and your 9-to-5 paycheck. It is possible to build an online income that pays you to enjoy a location-independent lifestyle. If you want to know how thousands of successful online entrepreneurs have started on their journeys, often from scratch, then click on the link given in the description. Work with established mentors, people who will hold you accountable, and proven processes to build a strategy that works for you. Enjoy a truly passive income lifestyle. It's hard work, but it's worth it. Even if you don't have an idea, don't know where to start, hard pressed for time, or hate selling, you can build a roadmap to online success by clicking on the link below. Imagine for yourself what you could do, who you could help, where you could travel, how your life will transform with a robust online income stream.